All right, everyone, we're gonna sing happy birthday before we start the meeting for the mayor, Ethan. Would you like us to sing happy birthday, mayor? Or Ethan?
Your call.
All right.
You call
We'll say mayor, okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you, everybody.
Did you get it? Do we have to do it again?
That is, no, we definitely got it. Zoomed in on Leo.
Thank you.
Yeah. We were gonna start driving 3-wheelers.
Thank you, right. Thank you very much, Shari. That was fun.
Of course.
Wow, hard to know where to go from there. Simon, my son Simon is with me tonight. He gavelled us in once before. I'm gonna ask him to do that again. Okay, so when you're ready, go ahead and give that a good. He said the last time he did it, he hit it too hard and this thing bounced up off the table. So, takes practice, I guess.
Try to get it higher this time.
Hold it for, get your fingers right up. Actually, would you?
That's why
since
the
we're taking
ceiling's
pictures,
there,
do you mind
okay?
taking a picture of him doing that? All right, there you go. Smile for Ted. Okay, go for it, Simon. Perfect.
That was
Thank
awesome.
you. Take your hand. Good job. Thank you, sir. Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. 7:31 on November 7th, 2023, the regular city council meeting of the city of West Liberty, Iowa. For a roll call tonight, we have Mayor Pro Tem Cara McFerren and city council members Dana Dominguez, Josh Schiltz, and we may see Omar Martinez later tonight. I'll ask for an approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve?
Second. Moved and seconded to approve the agenda. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. I'll ask for an approval of the consent agenda, including the city council meeting minutes of our last meeting.
Motion to approve consent agenda.
Second. Moved and seconded.
Cara gets the next one.
No, that's okay.
Approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. We have item number 4 is appointment by mayor of interim police chief Don Strong. Chief Werling, I'll let you say a few words if you want to in a second, but Chief Werling has accepted a position in Inamosa as their police chief. And so we'll be moving on as of the 17th of this month. Is scheduled to be his last day. And so I am appointing the current sergeant of the police department, Don Strong, to step in as interim chief. And we'll have a discussion here tonight as council about the hiring process for another chief. So thank you for stepping in to that role, Don. And yeah, glad that you're here and willing to do it. Thanks, sir. Looking forward to working with you. Chief, do you want to say anything at all, or?
I think that Don is the best choice for this position. He's had roles this high at other departments. He's got the right experience. He's got the right training. He's got the right temperament and he's got the right drive for this. So I'm going to do my best to hand everything off to him. So there will be no hiccups between me leaving and him starting. So
Excellent. And we wish you all the best in your
thank you all. Thank you.
City reports. We'll jump right in and start with you, Mr. Foley.
So a lot of the things that I wanted to report on are on the agenda.
Okay.
I will just talk about all of those.
Yep,
The one
we can
thing
do
I
that.
will let you know is that next week we will be surveying the wastewater treatment plant.
Okay.
And we will have our process engineer going through some things at the wastewater treatment plant next week. And I talked with the city manager. And we had discussed that once we kind of get our arms around where we're going with this thing, we need to have another meeting with West Liberty Foods and coordinate the agreement. The agreement for payment of the project. And we've sat down with them once before a while back, and they've seen the facility plan that has it all laid out. But again, there's a few new players at West Liberty Foods. We just need to kind of make sure everybody's on the same page. Sure. I
Okay,
don't see it as an issue.
This is for the no,
This is for what we call baseline improvements at the
Baseline.
wastewater
Okay.
treatment plant.
gotcha.
We had, just a reminder, we had placed that in our CIP plan. And we'll be reviewing it again at budget time, so that was in reference to that, it's a part of the CIP plan under the wastewater treatment.
I'm gonna put my hat back on, so Omar has to put his on.
And then.
hey. We are. we have
If
party.
Omar doesn't have one, I could give him mine. One other thing to report on, I forgot.
You get the good chair.
Let the
Sure.
record show that Councilmember Martinez has arrived.
The last thing I want to report on, I forgot the well number 2. So, they have been, I think they're completed with acidizing the well, and the reason you acidize an older well like that is to try to bring up how much, the production of that well, so it will produce more water. We were hoping to get 350 to 400 out of it. It looks like it's gonna be more like 300. I talked to Danny about maybe trying to acidize again to get it higher. I have done that at Coralville once where it didn't get quite what they wanted. In this case, I think 300 is gonna be plenty of water for you for a long time. So Danny and I decided that we think acidizing again could cost you a fair amount of money. And there were some problems when they acidized that there's another well fairly close, and he thought maybe some of that acid was, and it's not a bad acid, it's acids that actually can be put in the storm sewer. But he felt like because of his pHs, he could see influence, and we don't want that to happen, so.
Like for corrosion or what?
No, what it does, the acidization of the well, it kind of cleans the rock formations of the
Okay,
well.
right.
But then once you get down to the water level and the acid's going down into the water, like I said, it's not hurting anything, it gets treated. But he thought he could see where he was having to use more pH, and we're not sure, it may have just been a coincidence, but we decided there really isn't that big of a reason to do it, and let's just go with this 300 gallons a minute, and we think that's gonna be just plenty for what you need. Actually, more than what you need
300 gallons per minute.
per minute, right?
And
But
that's
your
another-
other 2 wells,
Yeah. how
they
would-
never get pumped beyond 350. The highest they ever get pumped to is 350.
Oh, okay, so we're close.
You are close.
But
yes.
what's the minimum rating?
Probably
be-
about 200 would be the,
Oh.
if it was at 200, I'd probably be saying, let's do it again, let's try to acidize it one more time.
Okay.
And you'll have more for us as we go here.
Correct. But that's kind of the big thing going on with that.
Mhm. Yep, sounds good. Lee, thank you for your detailed report here. That was helpful for me, really. And we've been very busy. Any questions, council, for city staff on any of these reports?
And Mr. Mayor, before you move on from reports, I do have updates from the electric department on some of the items that they've been working on.
Okay.
So when council's ready.
Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
okay, so John Mead, the interim, has reported to me that the Short Street Apartments electric is completed, so all of the new additions are connected. The Meadows new project down here, those homes have had phase 1 electric is all completed in place. And I do believe we've moved on to the water meters. So those are in installation. And then a bigger part of it is with the project out at Rainbow. Our electric department has been assisting Kiowa. I know there's been some situations as far as like equipment or, so they may run, so that keeps Kiowa on site. And so some of our staff will go and get equipment or pieces as needed, so that way, Kiowa doesn't have to interrupt their time by doing that. So, then,
I was playing tennis down there this week
Mhm.
in the morning and they showed up. and, Started working on the lines. It's a lot of activity going on. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's good to see.
And again, John's continuing to meet with the school contractors. To go over the plans with the electric and the transformer and that, then there is, we're gonna be talking about, in the next piece for the subdivision at Dutton. We're talking about, we're looking at boring and trying to get things organized so we can take time to speak with Mr. Dumont. And get a plan in place before we head into spring. So there's no question asked that we can move forward and make sure everything from the electrical side of it is ready to go.
Great.
So, and they've been working on a 3-phase out at Liquid Grove. As you can see, I think we've got, holiday lights are up and the tree and that's ready to go and the other thing that John wanted to make sure that we provided is everyone in the department is working diligently to reinstate positive customer and contractor relations. So, and I told them that all of them, thank you very much and continue.
And the safety
Mhm.
committee and the, you know,
Yep.
how we follow those
Yep.
rules and regulations is going well.
Yep, we've talked about that, and identifying a member to be at the committee table and. So,
Excellent. Thank you. Mr. Geertz. Any questions, council? I had a question about the funding that Father Guillermo is managing. It doesn't seem like it's moved a lot lately, and I wondered if there's more promotion that we should do for that, for the,
it'll be coming,
Yeah, because
because
the
of the holidays. Oh,
utilities will go
the
up.
utilities,
because of the
typically,
heat.
So don't-
yeah,
Yep,
Yep.
don't worry about that.
Yep.
Okay, good
And
point.
then also I saw something, what's the program through the community action where people can apply for that? They just advertise
Light
as
Heat.
well.
Okay.
yeah, it's called light.
Like,
Light Heap, yeah.
Mhm.
I always want to say I leap. Yeah.
I would draw your attention to the community policing note in the police department report. It's a good story.
Yeah, I like that. The community policing.
Those of you who don't have the paper, I guess I should mention it unless you want to mention it. Sergeant Strong.
That's part of why I put it in there is because that's the sort of thing that you get out of him. Because I've worked with him previously in another department and that's the kind of outreach and community connections that he creates.
Yeah.
But you will never, ever boast about it. So casually offhand mention something and I'll dig into the story and uncover that that's something that he did without thinking about it.
I almost got him, you guys all, pump that I saw at Aldi's. I read that in the pocket and I was like, but then I didn't know like the gift rules and stuff. So I was like, I better not, but it did impact me and I thought about that
I
too.
appreciate that.
So
Yeah.
Sergeant Strong ran into some kids who were playing football with a flat football. And they asked him if he had a pump to air up the football. And he said, no, we don't have anything like that. But he went to Dollar General and bought football with his own money. And brought it back so they could play. So that's a good story. Thank you for that. All right, further questions? You mentioned something about fire. Meeting as the chair. What?
Go ahead. You mentioned it.
Okay. We do have big news to share, if you hadn't heard, the fire task force met last night and agreed on the terms of a new 2080 agreement between the rural townships, city of West Liberty, and the West Liberty Fire Department. So it's, yeah, it is worthy of applause. The task force has worked really hard at that. And for many months, well over a year, with a lot of bumps in the road and stops and starts, a lot of learning, a lot of troubleshooting, a lot of brainstorming, a lot of talking with other people who've gone through similar things. And so it's a big deal to be this close to the finish line. It still needs to be approved by you, the city council, and by the township trustees. But I think everyone feels very confident that it's in good shape. So we're just kind of finalizing a couple of the details that we went through last night in the language. And to talk about the plan and the next steps then, my hope is to, and this is maybe a little bit ambitious, so we'll see how the next week or so goes, but I'd like to put it in front of you in 2 weeks at your next meeting, if possible. And that would be both the 2080 agreement and a settlement agreement that would end the lawsuits that the rural trustees have against the city, and then we have a countersuit against them. So the goal would be to have those in front of you in 2 weeks, and the rural trustees will do the same somewhere around that time, hopefully, and we'll be off to the races. Then the parties will select their board for the agency. And then there would be an interim period where the work actually will be done to set up the agency, setting up the bank accounts, finalizing the bylaws, all of the work that needs to be done before the agency actually would launch and be active as the operative body. So you could be thinking about who you want on the board. The way that it's written is the mayor is assigned to the board. A minimum of 1, a maximum of 2 city council members is assigned to the board. We changed that a little, well, you've seen it. And then a 4th person of your choosing. So you can be thinking about how you want to structure that. Really happy to be here, there. Any questions? Okay, we'll move on. Beer and liquor licenses. Winks Bar and Grill, 12-month Class C retail alcohol license. Is there a motion to approve? Motion to approve. Second. Moved and seconded to approve this liquor license. Alcohol license. Any discussion? Chief Werling, have there been any issues there?
No issues, and we're still working on our procedure and what that needs to look like. And once we have that put together, then we'll present it for approval. But no other issues that we need to worry about.
Excellent. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Hi.
All opposed, no. Motion carries 4-0. Vendor voucher claims in the amount of $723,083.07. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Hi.
All opposed, no. Motion carries 4-0. We have public comments and correspondence. If there are those in the room with public comments, we just ask that you keep it to 2 minutes long, state your name and your address to start. Is there anyone here with public comment? Yes.
My name is Brandon Harnett. I'm at 307 West 15. I sold my house on Spencer Street on the 27th, and I had come in 6 days prior to fill out a final billing paperwork like I'm supposed to. Sold the house, spoke to the buyer, and he was gonna come over here and fill out the form. They didn't give him a form for some reason, but it took him 9 days and me multiple calls, like 4 or 5 calls, I had to end up chasing him down with the paperwork to get him to fill it out and bring it in. I since got billed for those 9 days of service that I didn't even own the home. Because of the process, the policy is, once I sold the house, until he fills out a form, I'm still on liable. That's the policy that I'm getting told out, is the process. Now, whether I get anything out of it or not, I'm hoping that this doesn't happen to anybody else, because I didn't own the home after that. I did my diligence and filled out the forms. I even had to chase him down to get this filled out and stopped. Otherwise, I'd still be paying for it, which I think is totally wrong. Let alone the fact that I had to chase him down. So I guess I'd just like to see something changed in the system, because that's not right. A home seller had to go through all that too. And I spoke with them today and they still, I'm not gonna get it, I'm gonna have to pay for it, and it wasn't my house. So I just would like to see that policy change for whoever the next person is, because I'm sure there will be a next person.
Thank you for bringing that to the council's attention. Dana, did you want to comment?
Yeah,
I
because
know you
Brandon's
talked
been kind
together.
of filling me in,
Yeah.
and Brandon, you sent me on the form, it says there will be a utility reading. Is that right?
Yeah, and I thought that's why we filled out that form.
Yeah, but there wasn't one done, you were
There
told
was
by
not one
city
done.
staff. So there's no way to know like what to prorate you because there wasn't a
Correct.
utility
There wasn't one
reading.
done until the day he's,
or a meter reading,
until
sorry.
that guy came in, the buyer came in and filled out his form.
Okay, yeah, so that's definitely something we need to talk about because. I mean, go ahead, Mary, you were gonna say something.
Yeah, no, go ahead. I mean, it sounds like the process needs to be looked at then. I know well, I guess I'm thinking of my experience with rental properties switch over. I think usually you can just say that you're ending service, right? And then it ends service. Do you guys want to talk about that at all as far as what the process is now, or?
Yes, I can kind of tell you, so. When a homeowner, so it's different for rental properties because rental properties typically go back into the landlord's name. So if somebody comes in, there is still somebody responsible for that home. The reason being is because you would still have all the minimums when it's a homeowner who is leaving and we don't have a new person to put it into their name. Until that happens, those minimum charges are still billed because somebody has to be responsible for the usage that is on the home.
Was the home occupied by the,
It's not occupation, it's the actual utility itself.
well, doesn't the utility get, once he leaves, yeah, once he's done,
Yes,
That
there are
gets-
still minimum charges.
not talking about consumption,
Yeah,
we're talking minimal
consumption.
charges.
We're talking
baseline.
about the
Yeah, the
baseline
baseline.
charges, yep.
Yep, and that's per the utility bill.
It doesn't, yeah, it does seem like something that needs to be updated. I mean, if you sell the house. That's a pretty awkward situation to be in, what you had to do, right? Do you think, would you be, I mean, maybe, could we look and see what some other policies are from other cities and just look at that and get some options? Would that be a good way to approach it?
So you
Council, you
just-
decide how you want to.
You just recently approved that ordinance, so that was in the ordinance, and that ordinance is based on Iowa Utility Board.
Yep, it's from the utilities board itself.
So it is the practice across the board, because you have the minimum fee built in.
Yep.
I mean, unfortunately, the situation being is that for the homeowner. He also had a situation where the new owner. It appears didn't, I mean, this is the first I've heard about it, and I think this is something that maybe we could certainly bring back. And talk about and start here
I think-
at this
I think
level, and
Council's
then.
gonna wanna, I'm reading between the lines, but I think tell me if I'm wrong, council, but I think you wanna examine this more.
Yeah,
If
at
I'm wrong,
least
then say so.
figure out some kind of credit or something for Brandon.
Well,
How,
We can't credit him and then push.
he didn't even own the home.
so what I'm asking for, I'm not asking that council wouldn't review this further, I'm asking for the opportunity, because this is the first time that I've heard about the situation. I'm asking council and mayor for you to provide me the opportunity to sit down with Brandon and we go through the situation, what
Yeah.
has occurred. Because
Great.
one, I have to identify, we should be identifying if the process was not handled correctly of the procedure that we have in place first, then identify from there on. And then if, Mr. Harnett is still not, happy with our resolution or what we come to, then bring it back. I can follow up with council to
Yeah.
report. But again, I mean, this is across the board and this is a consistent practice for all customers. So if we do for one, we have to do for all. So I just would like to ask for the opportunity to work with Mr. Harnett and go through what has happened. And I do apologize for those inconvenience. But typically, that's the practice, is that it starts here and then we bring it to.
And maybe this is the first time you hear from it happening, because maybe nobody's else.
I haven't
has come
heard,
forward.
Yeah.
Probably the first
yeah.
time I've
So
seen it.
last year, I don't know if it's the same situation, but I had a business owner who we changed ownership and that person never switched the utilities and he never filled out a form, I don't think, to get it taken out of his name because he didn't go to another business, right? So there was like, and then he didn't find this out till after his income tax was taken. And if this is what happened, it makes sense that that new business owner never filled out the form and he continued to be billed not knowingly. So what I don't want to happen is for people to move into a house and not know about the form or just not get to it, or maybe they're not moving in for another month or whatever, and the old homeowner, even though they don't own the home, still continues to get charged. Cause that's what sounds like would happen, right?
So we process these, services on a daily basis. We're dealing with a number of, changes, on a daily basis. So again, I would just say that, and there are individual cases that is based on an individual situation. They're not always the same. There are other circumstances. And again, I would just, I'll go back and say, please allow me the
Sure. No,
opportunity.
absolutely, yeah,
And then.
let's take that step,
And
absolutely.
then let's start there and then absolutely then, and I'm just saying, I'm not saying that there doesn't have to be something changed, but I have to be able to understand what went wrong first.
What would be, the way that the policy is now, what is the way that it should work? Like if everybody's doing what they're supposed to do, what is that supposed to look like right now? Let's say I sell my house. What do I need to do? What does the buyer need to do? Like what, just very briefly, how does
Sure thing. So what happens when that happens, let's say I'm selling my house to you, I would fill out a final bill request to take the services from my name. You would need to fill out an actual application for service so that we can transfer it over into your name.
So like typically, let's say that transaction is happening.
Mhm.
I mean, is that what you normally see, that like the buyer comes in
Correct.
the very next day or that
Or the
day?
same day that
Usually the
the
same day.
homeowner comes in, like the homeowner that's selling it. They typically come in the same time, or they'll come in directly after the closing and do it at the same date.
Okay.
That is typical. So there's kind of two different things that you're looking at, because rental properties are very different,
Yeah.
because the homeowner that is responsible for that is the actual business, like the
Yeah.
landlord, whereas the homeowner that's responsible is the person who has it in their name at that
I
point in
want
time.
to talk about rental properties too, because I think it needs to be easier for tenants to put service into their name in that case. Just in the other cities that I've worked with, it's easy for them to put it in, but here we require more work for them. So I want to talk about that, but I don't understand the process well enough to go into it tonight. I'll ask you about it first.
I mean, could I make my?
Yeah.
So, once the new homeowner puts it in his name, then it's hooked up and they get electricity or they get the water, whatever.
The bill gets transferred over at that point in time. So
Did they-
there's an end date for the previous owner.
Right,
There's a start date for the current homeowner.
but
Yes.
I'm talking about the utilities themselves. Is there still functional utilities going to
Yes,
the
we do
property?
not disconnect
Okay.
unless there is a request for disconnect if the person does not come in. So then you would disconnect, but you would still have your baseline charges, for example, your sewer connect fee, that one is always on there, that one doesn't go away.
For the new person?
For the person who is taking it from their name, like, for example, in Mr. Hernan's case, he would still have those base charges even if it was disconnected. Because you still have your base fees that you have to pay for in those
Until-
properties until the new person put it in their name.
Well, let's pursue that. If you wanna take that up and talk through that, I think we need to look at that policy.
So first of all, I think our number one priority needs to be to take care of Mr. Herman, and that's what we need to focus on. So, I would just ask,
Whenever you.
I just know you as Brent. If you would just, if you could just let, city clerk Hoffert know your contact information, then I can get in touch with you and we'll set up and let's go through your situation and process and see what we can identify and work through it. And then I think then, from what I'm hearing for you, I think that then the next step would be to get the utility committee together. And then we can review those existing and then we can provide the complacency with IUB and those steps. So then, I'm again, just be, I'm
That
just
sounds-
trying, we are
sounds
not
like a good
saying
job.
that we don't need to make changes. I'm just saying,
No.
let's just take that process.
Let's do the process.
Okay.
Yeah, I do think it's good to look at.
Yeah.
See if we can,
Yeah.
That's definitely something that we can look into.
anything else about that?
Mhm.
Thank you, Mr. Harmon. Appreciate that. And by the way, don't feel obligated to stay for the whole rest of the meeting if you don't want to. Many people take their leave after their comments, so feel free if you'd like to. Obviously, you're welcome to stay. Any other public comments here in the room? Okay, we'll move to city council. Councilmember Schiltz, public comments, correspondence?
I did have somebody reach out concerning some cats around her home. I got her in touch with Eddie. And I chatted with her today and it sounds like they're all kind of good to go. So I appreciate Eddie taking care of that.
Yeah.
And
I'll pass that on to him.
got it.
Okay, great.
Nothing.
You kept your hat on.
I took out the purpose. That's right. Oh, wow.
I really appreciate you going on Facebook and asking
Oh.
people to bring issues up. It was nice to see that back and forth.
Yeah, that was fun, and I think
You addressed all of them, so.
thank you for checking.
Yeah, I was like-
That's good, keep me on, teamwork is always a good thing. I think I answered all of them, except there's maybe a few that I need another follow-up with, like handicapped parking at Dutton, somebody brought up.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the rules are there, but it sounds like maybe there should be more designated handicapped spaces for the size of lot that it is. I don't know. I'll follow up on that. We don't have to go into it here.
And because it was gravel, it's hard for people.
Right, paving would be.
Yep.
Yes. would be-
There is some, I don't know, yeah.
We
It
don't-
just has to be strategic on where.
Yeah. That's one that I can remember. I'll go through it again. Yeah.
And then there was a query about developer incentives that you answered beautifully. I'm not your judge, but I was just like, yes.
I just went to the people who have the details and related back, so thanks for helping me, Lee and Sherry with.
We won't tell you what he did to our day.
No,
No, I'm just kidding. It was all quiet.
I was learning too, though. I was like, I didn't know that.
Appreciate
And I
the help.
heard, the mayor is on a roll and I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
No, it's good. We got it.
Nick helped too with the
Yeah.
questions about the trees.
I'm just making a note about the gravel and the handicap, so, right, is that?
Yeah, just the question was, are there enough handicapped designated spaces? Because it's a large parking lot. And then secondly, a request that it would be paved because it's hard to navigate in a wheelchair or whatever if it's not. So, and I don't think we need to go into it.
No, but yeah,
We can look into it.
there's an issue with the parking lot, so we can talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Anything else, Councilmember Dominguez?
Mm-mm.
Okay, Councilmember Martinez? No. That's fine, okay. City Manager Geertz,
No, Mr. Mayor.
City Clerk Hoffert.
I do not have anything at this time.
Again, tonight, at the beginning of the meeting, I neglected to announce as part of the roll call that our three appointed members are here, City Manager Geertz, City Clerk Hoffert, and Chief of Police Eric Werling. Now I need to also announce soon to be interim chief Don Strong. My apologies. It's our policy to announce all appointed members. Let's see. The only public comment that I have to share tonight is that people were excited to see the tree being decorated. We feel like it needs more lights. And so, you know.
You feel it needs more.
I definitely do. Step in the right direction. I think we need to keep going. I will just put out the invitation to join us for the tree lighting at the end of the holiday open house coming up here soon. Put on by the Chamber of Commerce. It's always a fun time. We'll move on to new business. Discussion and appropriate action on the posting of the West Liberty Police Chief opening. City Manager Geertz, would you be able to kind of walk us through what a standard procedure would be for this and what next steps council need to
Well, I mean, there's
take?
there's two procedures and I would invite Mayor Pro Tem, she can join in on the conversation or Clerk Hoffert because we've gone different directions in the past. We've worked with a consultant a couple of times. We've also handled the process internally, probably more than a consultant. So again, it is based on what council is looking for as far as the search. What they're looking to identify by use of a consultant and why you would use a consultant based on, you know, the process. If you believe that you're internally can handle, that internally can be done and that those processes can be, minimized.
What would be the approximate cost from historic consultant contract?
Depending on, so here's the thing, depending on the council about what they're looking for from the work of the consultant, it can be anywhere from 15,000 up to 25,000. It's dependent on what you're asking that consultant the work that you're asking them to do in order to do the search.
What have the last several chief hiring processes been? Utilizing a consultant or not utilizing it?
That was under contract with the interim.
Our last one.
Yes.
Let's say that again.
Our last one, so when Chief Werling was hired, that was done under contract with interim Elizabeth Hansen.
She functioned as the consultant.
Yes, and then I
Yeah.
assisted, so she
Yeah.
essentially did the stuff, and then I assisted with all the collection of the data.
Right.
All the postings, everything, I handled that part, she just oversaw it.
Right, sure.
Prior to that in 2020, we did have a consultant. However, that resulted in, due to COVID, that we had to do everything electronically. And so the cost is difficult to compare. It still ended up being, I think it was between 12 to 15,000.
Sure.
And it was still all done primarily electronically. We both ways have resulted in a solid number of candidates. So it's not by use of a consultant or not use of a consultant. Internally, you can post in the same, places. It's just having the experience and the time of the consultant
Yeah,
to identify and do more of that legwork and their specialties versus, identifying a committee or internally how you want it to be processed, so.
you guys have a gut feeling on how to approach it?
Question.
Yeah.
When we do like internally, do we post it on like, Indeed, LinkedIn, stuff like that? Okay.
Yeah, it's posted on all the major sites, so like ILEA for the police association. You have your League of Cities, you would have any of your like IMFOAs, big governmental agencies, then you have the option to do Indeed and those items as well. Plus our normal posting that we would do on website, Facebook, and out front.
What,
Yeah, the professional organizations are the best bet, like the governmental setups, because officially you're gonna get the best candidates.
Indeed, we typically get candidates that don't necessarily have the qualifications, but they're applying for positions. We've had the most luck with ILEA in like posting on our website, and then doing League of Cities.
I was just curious.
I can offer too, as the police chief, I'm part of the Iowa Police Chiefs Association, it's very common for posts to go up there for open positions, anywhere from officer all the way up to chief. And that goes out to other chiefs, and then you can apply to be part of that association if you're a deputy chief or a lieutenant captain, that sort of thing. So that's another space that we could, I don't know if we've typically used that, but that's something that I can help with because I'm part of that. So if that's something that is needed, I can help with that as well.
Yeah, sure. I'm almost inclined to go with the consultant only because of the timing. Because I feel as though there's so many things happening right now. And there's so much of our attention devoted to trying to get things like, our house in order, transitioning, and trying to gear up for a budget, which is going to be in a month's time. That it might be better to take it out of our plate, take it off our plate. And then that way, all we need to do is have them just give us candidates, and then we can do the interviewing. And that way, we don't have an additional duty put upon our staff.
And they would set up a pattern for interviews for us, and often there's a public meet and greet. Chief in his interview process in Anamosa said they had an interview with outsiders. It was the county sheriff, I think you said, and the county attorney and police chiefs from around the area, which seemed like maybe a good idea, so there's some other ideas that could be utilized too. So they had a two-part process. Part of it was everyone sitting in this room. That was a piece of the interview process. The other piece was county attorney, the sheriff, other police chiefs from the area, like the mayor said. I actually kind of like that. It was something different, but it was a way for law enforcement to provide feedback to the city. This is what we think of your candidates. Yeah.
Well, it's a great relationship builder as well.
Sure. The other thing that I would ask the council to,
Unless you go with somebody they don't like.
is during a transition phase, the longer we draw it out, the more unease that there is. There's already, Brittany and I were talking about, there's already chatter going on about me leaving on Facebook, and that makes people uneasy. So the longer the process takes, I don't know what impact that has on the city. So I'm just saying, sure, that's something to consider. I'm not saying that there's a way that I can tell you how to fix that, but Anamosa's process took well over 4 months. So that's a lot of time for the department to deal with, for the council and the mayor to deal with, and for the citizens to deal with in that transition. So figuring a way to do it more quickly and swiftly might be
But would
beneficial.
that be a consultant then? Because that takes more time sometimes to go through consultant. And my other question was if there's any perhaps qualified people on the department
And that's,
already, and then we would waste all that money if we had people right on the department. But
Yeah,
things to consider.
that's doing it internally. I mean, that's a possibility.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you mentioned the chatter and the fact that, there wasn't a lot of clarity with that, with some of the community folks, because I just thought that I would put in my 2 cents worth and say that we're really sorry to see you go. We didn't want you to leave, but that you have to do what's best for yourself and your family, and that it wasn't anything to do with some nefarious or,
It's more about. And I'll put this out publicly. I was looking at Anamosa as a template for where we can go. Anamosa, the size of the city is just bigger than ours, the size of their apartment's just bigger than ours, looking at their structure, their pay, what their base is for their tax base, what they put towards the department, what percentage of the city budget that is. And as I'm doing this research, that's when my dad fell ill and passed away. My mother started needing more help, and I'm an hour away down here. So it takes me an hour to get up there to help, and then I gotta drive an hour back. So that all being said, that was the main reason that I put in for it was I've got to do what's best for my family and I got to take care of my mom. So,
Well, there are pros and cons. Could maybe potentially be a quicker process if we did it internally, but it is a lot of work. On top of everything else that City Hall is doing. Maybe a longer process externally. But we get some help.
So we
So
could give them deadlines.
for a
Consultant.
consultant, do we have a go-to consultant for that process if we do it, or we'd have to do an RFP and all
We
that,
would
I
have to
suppose?
do an RFP and everything to
But-
get a consultant.
Do we know of a consultant for sure to send it to who we work with and
Yeah, I mean, there's several consultants that we can, but that's the process,
And
just
within-
like Shari's
yeah,
saying,
sure.
we've gotta. So that'll
Because
be.
that would
but it's
additional-
not just shooting
start
blind, I mean, we do have some
Before
we
you
work
would
with,
actually,
yeah.
before you would even be able to start the process, the
Yeah.
RFP portion would have to be taken
And
care of,
that's-
and we'd have to select and.
That's
do all that.
that's, you have to wait 10 days or whatever it
Correct.
is.
So before you can even get that
And
portion.
Yeah, then we would get the consultant and we would speak with them, decide what we wanted, have them give them our parameters and then maybe impose a deadline.
Your RFP should have what your parameters or what you're looking at. So for them, I mean, the request for proposal is based on what you're
Sure.
looking for them to do, right? And so that should be within that, and then they're gonna write their proposals. And then you'll go through that process to decide, and then we'll create an agreed agreement. And so, I mean, yeah, I mean,
if we did it internally?
but there are, I'm sorry, I just wanted
No,
to say,
no,
I mean, yeah, we have several local, or not local, we have several consultants that we can work with.
Yeah, my question would, I don't know if that's appropriate, but like what Shari, what is your thoughts and Lee, like versus the two? No wrong answer whatsoever.
Yeah, no, it's a good question, because a
Yeah.
lot of the work we did internally would fall.
Yeah.
So Lee and I have a very good base to go off of because we have all of Elizabeth's work from when she was here, because I handled that portion, and Lee was involved in the front side of it. So I think either way that you guys go, it can be done one way or another. It's gonna be more dependent on time, cost, what you guys are looking for.
I'm not seeing us having an issue collecting applicants for the position with all the postings. Kind of like Clerk Hoffert said, there is that template there, and I know they've gone through it, and I think that there's a lot of work going on, but I definitely think we get done internally and save the money for elsewhere.
And lean towards that.
You can also pull in the public safety, I mean, what we have done in the past is we utilize. The mayor's either appointed the public safety committee. To be, once those applications are coming in, then the public safety committee is meeting regularly and they're going through those. And they're making, weeding through and they're identifying. And then that public safety committee then brings a recommendation to the council as a whole. And, you would identify and you still can have the opportunity to do a meet and greet. You still, I mean, we
Sure,
can still
we can
do
set our
those
own
things.
process.
Correct.
You want to
Um,
narrow down the applicants to a certain number and then go
Yeah.
through
Yeah.
the funnel. I mean, I'm okay doing it internally. if you guys are. I tend to, like, I was gonna say the same thing as you, just due to everything that's on everybody's plate, maybe just hire it out, but I didn't think really about the timeline, which is true.
Well, I don't know. I mean, there isn't anything wrong with that, but it's just how quickly, we want to work. Plus, we're gonna have constraints on us anyway with the holidays, this busy time of the year anyway.
That's
But,
true too.
So I don't know if it's gonna make much difference. I guess like Dana asked, it's whether or not you, have a good opinion that city staff would be able to have some time to do this and have a good direction.
Does that primarily fall to who would be doing most of the legwork on that?
So it would probably fall between your clerks, we would handle that portion, with Emily stepping in, she would be able to help out with that, and then Lee would oversee it. So it would be
So
more.
Emily, you're gonna be in charge of this process, is that what I'm?
Assist. She will assist, yes, she would be assisting and being able to help me collect all those documents and everything.
Okay.
And then we would get them put together for the review. Lee would meet with everybody, go through everything, so it's kind of a dual process. Kind of the same way that it would have worked when Elizabeth was here, have the same functionality of it, so.
Omar, do you have thoughts? About which way you think would be? I don't mean to call you out, I just want
No,
to hear from you.
Right, I think internally, in my opinion,
Would it,
I feel like we have a good base of like where to go and how to do things. But, I have faith in people that are working here, so. We had a little bit more on their plate, but I think as working as a team, you guys work great.
Mhm.
You guys have each other's back, so.
Right,
I-
and I think that also, in that situation, would give more knowledge and experience to our staff as well, so that we are prepared for those types of things.
And again, I just would go back to that recommendation of making sure that committee, mayor, is that they're strongly involved in that process. And that we've got a strong communication and we're staying on top of working through that process together. That's what's going to support the internal process of it, is making sure that we've got the committee and things aligned with them, so that way it'll have a much smoother process and we can work through it together.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like there's a pretty quick consensus then to just do it internally, are you comfortable with that?
no, can I say one more
Yep.
quick thing? Depending on tonight's results, it might be wise too to bring in whoever the mayor-elect will be, since they would oversee that person during that.
Sure.
If we hire before the January 1st and change.
Yeah, that's a good thing to consider, for sure, absolutely. Yes, on that note, this is totally an aside, but, just to put it out there, I'm certainly happy to work with whoever is elected to help the transition. That would be a good case for that, for sure, since the mayor is very involved in the police department, the head of the police department for the city code. I think we have a consensus then to do it internally. I would just ask that you could provide to council an outline of the process, so we can.
So
We have
the city,
know what the-
yeah, I was gonna say that.
What the
That
steps
would
are.
be the step, the city manager would identify a timeline.
Okay.
Through working with the clerk.
Okay.
We'll identify the timeline, then we'll present the timeline at the November 21st meeting. Along with requesting either employee committee or public safety committee members be assigned to that process.
Yeah,
Okay.
sounds good, excellent.
And I just wanted to say thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, for, identifying and recognizing, and I just want to say I appreciate that you, as I know all of you do, but, communicating that you're recognizing all of the other work that's going on, so, okay? Thank you.
Yeah.
We all. think
I know you all do.
recognize the work, but also recognize your ability to do this work
Yeah.
too, so
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like
So
two good
thank you
choices,
all.
two good
Yes,
options here.
Yeah.
I don't think do we need a vote on that? I think do you you want a motion?
Is
and
there
a-
action that we have to?
I guess there's
like,
a
There
appropriate
okay.
action,
is
yeah.
your action, so you're
Well,
gonna
let's
tell
have a
me what
motion
you would
then
like
to,
to do with your motion.
I'd like to make a motion to go ahead and conduct the posting and the search of the West Liberty Police Chief opening through internal means. And what else?
Great, that's sufficient.
Completely fine.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries 4-0. We'll move on to 9B, discussion and appropriate action on a facility study for the proposed hotel in the city of West Liberty. This is a project that City Manager Geertz and Wheelie Director Ken Brooks have been working on. How great would it be to have a hotel in town? Which one of you wants to give us a very brief overview of what we're looking at here and the necessity of this?
I want to give my partner the floor.
There is at least one hotel organization that we're in discussion with about coming to town. One of their requirements before they take this conversation to the next level is that their partner city completes a feasibility study, right? And that is true with this specific hotel that we're discussing, and it would also be true with other hotels that we have conversations with. So really, this is kind of step 2 in this process.
So necessary or expected for any of these potential hotel partners to come in, they want to see this.
Correct. If we're wanting to work with a partner and not 100% a local developer, then yes, this is going to be a needed step.
So should a feasibility study be done? How long is that? How do I say this? Is that good for? Is that good out into like 5 years in the future, talking with different hotel companies or?
Yep, so it really depends on the hotel company and what they're looking for. I would say 2 years is probably a pretty good insight.
So that's a good question.
Yeah, I guess like following his question, so we would get a feasible study for this one. Hotel that's what it worked with, so say that one or,
No, this isn't hotel specific.
oh, okay.
This is looking, it's a snapshot of our community as it relates to would this community be able to support a business?
And is there a need and affordability?
And based on the need, how many
Yeah,
rooms?
what size would it
what
be?
size, Yeah,
What rates could they charge?
yeah, would they be able to fill them? You know, what would the need be? You know, how many days a week would they, you know, they would provide all of that.
Also, how much revenue would that generate to increase the tax base? You know, we're able to assess hotel taxes and what would that bring into the community and things like that too.
Yeah, and I also think, because I know a lot of the truckers, they go out into the Econo Lodge or whatever it's called now, but I used to work there when I was in high school, and a lot of people complained that they wish they had nicer places. So having a semi come through, like where would they park if they were to get a room in West Liberty would be important too, depending on the location.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's part of, you know, I think, again, it just depends. So one, if I can say, the one, group that we started a discussion with, just trying to understand, it's also then, you know, based on the facility, once it gets to a certain point, they would stop the study. Because if it's showing that, you know, we're not there yet versus having to spend 100% of the cost, they would put it on a timeout, and then, you know, we would talk about what we would need or what we should be looking for, and then they can come back in and pick up that study and then, you know, fill it out to the rest of the way.
Once
So,
we gear up to that point. And I appreciate the fact that we're able to fund this via utilities. Because that will help with our budgeting.
So you're looking at, you have one cost proposal and you're looking at getting hopefully 2 more, and you would bring those back to council, so that you're just looking for council directive to proceed with that at this point.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions about this? Is there a motion to
Yeah,
approve that, or do you wanna wait on this?
I'd like to make a motion to go ahead and approve the feasibility study.
Second,
Okay, moved and seconded to approve. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion passes 4-0. This is a resolution to approve pay estimate number 8
And
for All American Concrete for the Rainbow Maxon Street project. Well,
motion to approve.
Oh, yeah, Leo has to talk.
yes, is there a second? No, you're right. We do that first.
second,
Great. Yeah, and then we'll pass it to you, Leo.
So, All American is, the primary thing they have to do is the trailer part of the project.
Yeah.
They're waiting on the poles. The new poles are up, but they're waiting for the wires to be moved over, so the old ones can be taken down. I think that's supposed to happen very shortly right now. And then I'm pretty positive All American will jump on that. Once they do, that won't take them too long to do. They've got it graded. They'll bring in rock, compact it, and they'll be ready to go. So things are looking pretty good there. As far as the project goes, this is like 72%. The only part of the project that they're saying they will not get done is that Columbus Street sidewalk, and we want them to wait till spring on that. There's some things to work out with some of the landowners. I did talk to the car wash landowner again tonight. He is a big time farmer, so he has told me that by the end of this week, he'll be done combining and we'll have time to focus a little more on that, then we can get together. He has seen all of the documents have been sent.
They're still, because I think December 31st was completion for the rest of the project, and then we added that. But
I
they're still
think
looking at
they're gonna be good on that December 31st with everything.
for everything else.
That's what we had a meeting last week and that's what they told us. I don't see it on.
I've been very fortunate that we've had such wonderful weather.
Yes, yes. And you guys have done good. The city's given them ways that they could make it work to their schedule too, so all worked out.
Leo.
That didn't sound good.
Thinking the same thing. And I put my hat on. Got chastised early on.
Gonna get serious, get your hat on.
Well, just a few things, and as we go through, but, I know cut and paste is really easy to do, especially with, technology, but on the next city letter that you send from Beekstra and Kim, can you make sure that we're not in LeClaire, Iowa? We're in West Liberty, Iowa. As well as resolution 2023110797. It's also addressed to LeClaire, Iowa.
It's a beautiful city.
Hey, you know what, and I'm gonna take this right along with our engineer and
Where's the
say,
other one? I see the first one.
and I'll say that
The next
two of us-
resolution for the All-American Concrete for Naughty Circle Division Street project. You also sent in a letter.
Thing.
Don't worry, I
Yeah.
didn't see you.
Okay.
Hey, don't worry, I didn't see it.
We were just focused on the numbers, so here's the thing, I'm gonna take that right along with Leo and.
No, I do believe I have a, all right, I should just tell you, I'm very dependent on an assistant and, this is my
Shari.
third assistant this year. So I'm in the process and we'll get the stuff cleaned right up. Sorry, I do apologize. I didn't even see it.
No, and again, we all three of us work together. I think that not making excuses, we've all been under the gun on a few other
I
projects.
just don't understand it though, because it is a cut and paste world. And why wouldn't you have taken letter from number 7 and changed it to 8? Yeah, it just doesn't make sense.
It's fine, because this means the Claire's gonna pay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they love that.
I said
That sounds great.
we were supposed.
No, I do apologize. But I do think the project, other than that, the project is going pretty well.
Pretty well.
We can get the engineering team to put the right names on the city, it'll be
Good.
really quickly. My
will.
very first contract with the city of West Branch a long time ago. Very first one at V&K, I had done one with you guys. I used that one as a cut and paste. And to the city of West Branch and on their contract, it was City of West Liberty.
Oh, I bet they love that.
And it was a very big contract for a new water plant, and the city manager, we had all agreed, he's like, I'm not signing that contract, there's no way. His name was
How
Tyler,
dare
I am not signing the contract, period. I'm like,
I'm gonna do it.
what happened, why? I am not the city
Yeah.
administrator for West Liberty.
An engineer in Muscatine told me a story one time when he caught himself right before walking in the door of the church that I pastor in Muscatine, which is called Church of the Living Water. And he said it was right around Halloween and they were walking in the door and he happened to open the document and look at it and it said on the top, Church of the Living Dead. And he turned around and walked, nope, we can't do this today, he told us.
I will have that cleaned up, I promise.
Okay. We will make sure.
All right.
I just want to make sure there's no mistakes, because a simple one like that could represent something much more. So I want.
I can
people
tell
to
you,
be on
I
top of
focus
it.
a lot on dollars, but I don't read the words sometimes because these are somewhat form letters, so.
And we're gonna talk about dollars later on.
When I see this number, when I see this letter come back to me,
Yeah.
I'm making sure that number and the number on this pay estimate are the
Yep.
same, because that's one of the ones that I've been caught on that before.
Yeah,
And in all fairness, those are the ones likewise, yeah, that, and again, I wanna be fair to you. I mean, those are the things too that we're more zeroed in on is those numbers and looking at what, estimate, what percentage we are, where we're at our budget and.
We do have a form that is a pay estimate that is our own pay estimate because it has all the formulas right in it and has that. And it's funny, contractors are always like, why do you have to take it from ours and put it onto our form? You wouldn't believe how many mistakes we find on those contractors when we do it all of a sudden. 1 + 1 + 1 didn't equal 3 all of a sudden.
mhm.
Oh, anyway.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve this resolution, pay estimate number 8. Any further discussion? It's a roll call vote. Councilmember Schiltz,
Yes.
Councilmember Martinez,
Yes.
Councilmember Dominguez,
Yes,
Councilmember McFerren.
Yes,
Motion passes 4-0. We have a resolution to approve pay estimate number 1 for All American Concrete for the Naughty Circle Division Street project. Is there a motion to approve?
motion to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve this resolution. Leo, is there anything you want to add on this one?
This project has had a few bumps in the road. It has not gone near as cleanly as the Rainbow and Maxon project. I think you're probably very well aware. They've run into a number of soft spots. Soft spots in this town are very typical. We did not run into them much at all or any on Rainbow, but on Naughty, we ran into a number of them. We have in our plans, we say, if you run into this problem, you can use this, here's another one, all at the end of the engineer's discretion. So those type of things were in the contract for them. They hit the water service, they should have never hit the water service, we tell them over and over and over again to pothole. The operator told me, well, you didn't expect us to pothole every one of them, I said there was 5, yes, we did, we expect that. And you should find them. And what you guys do is you locate the stop boxes. And the water main's on the other side of the street. It's like, well, how do we know? I said, you should know because everybody knows. It's a
And
straight line across the street usually.
the
if it's not-
contractor is gonna be responsible for that?
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. 100%.
What are soft spots?
What's that? Soft spot? So when you do a road project, we put rock now underneath the road, 6 inches of rock. When they put that rock, then they drive a loaded semi over the top of it, or a loaded dump truck over the top of it. If it goes in more than like 2 inches, that means don't pave, because your pavement will start moving, freeze thaw and cracking. So what we make them do is excavate it back up. This case, it was really wet, soggy. So what we have them do then, like I said, we have in the contract, we have them bring in like a macadam stone, which is a 3-inch down. They put that macadam in about 1 foot to 18 inches. Sometimes they have to put a geogrid underneath it. Put it back on. They've already done this. They did their proof roll and got it. That's good because I've had them do it and then it's still too soggy, didn't work, but this time it did work. But they hit the darn water service, which was irritating beyond belief. And then they also hit on the electric line between the poles. Usually that line's down about 3 feet deep. It wasn't in this one. It was much higher than 3 feet deep. And somehow when they hit it, they thought it was an older cable. So they pulled out 200 or 300 feet of it. Just tried to pull it back out. So they're in the process of getting a price to repair that also.
I just
Just one more thing. If they would have said to us, the electric's in the way, then it would have been 100% your responsibility to move it. Would have been, now they might have done it, but you would have had to pay 100% no matter what. That's how our specs are written. Water could have been the same way if they would have stopped, but they're trying to go so fast. We told them slow down, slow down, slow down, but they're so worried and wanting to go fast that they made some mistakes, in my opinion. They might not agree on the electrical. They might think that they shouldn't have hit that, but it was located. It's located in the field. When it's located. So I guess there was a mistake on what they thought it was, but in there.
You would prefer to have them move slower. When you say slow down, that's just to deal with.
So if they would have just said, hey, we're gonna stop for a couple of days and you've got to get that electric. And it would have put me on high alert because I would have been saying, okay, what happened? Where do we have to relocate? But we would have figured it out and told them to relocate, just like we just did today. Today they had a meeting and said it has to still be relocated. So it may end up being a shared cost because it should have been relocated.
Right.
We didn't think it was that, we thought it would be deeper. Usually it is. Why wasn't it deeper? I don't know. But, so now they're gonna relocate it and they're not doing it. It's something All American really doesn't do. So they're getting a price to have it done.
Again, it wasn't in like how we do now, we run it through a conduit and
Right.
this is a case where it wasn't.
Yeah.
So, and so again, I mean, I just wanna say though, All American has been really good about working through it with us and they were quick to respond to those water line breaks and worked with our staff. So, I mean, I also wanna say, I mean, they've been very good in communication.
I was telling somebody else that, one of my other engineer friends about this, and I said, it's just this fall and they're trying to hustle too much and, we want them to move fast, but they hit another contractor to get a high pressure gas line. Well, you have gas going across that street every house also, and they were careful enough to get around the gas.
Right.
So they did, it wasn't
Like we agreed, it could have been much worse,
Yeah.
but it wasn't, so we'll work together.
And Leo, we talked about notifications last meeting. Is that something that you brought up or you would? Just
Oh,
do that
yes,
on
we
the
brought it,
next,
I think it went well on this
project
next
or-
phase. I didn't hear any complaints on the third phase. And the third phase had the most houses on it.
Yeah.
So what I believe happened, All American went out and went door to door. And then I think the city also went door to door.
Yeah.
So I think it happened twice. And I think everybody was, and I know it was a good week ahead of time. So I believe we fixed that part of the problem.
It doesn't seem like both of us should have to do it. Hopefully,
Well, I think that'll be something
Fixed.
that we can discuss going forward,
This kind of, because it was kind of a mess up on that
Yeah.
first phase, we
Yeah.
wanted to make sure it was covered.
Yeah.
It was covered.
great. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve this resolution, passment number 1 for 9 Circle Division Street. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, Councilmember Martinez.
Yes.
Councilmember Schiltz.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Councilmember Dominguez.
Yes,
Councilmember McFerren.
Yes.
sorry, Josh.
Motion passes 4-0. I don't always go in the same order, sorry. We have a resolution to approve the 9 Circle Division Street Engineering Services Amendment number 1. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve this resolution. Now, this I understand is
Confusing.
an extra $3,000 to Beanstra and Kim to do the work to negotiate and do the engineering for the right of way for the sidewalk on either side of Division
Right.
Street.
So those are, the items are additional survey, offer a purchase agreement, negotiate the agreement, and then do a final acquisition plat that we turn over to the city and to the attorney. So those things for each one of those two properties. When we do a contract for you, we assess early on whether we think we're gonna have to buy right away or not. If we think we have to buy right away, we would have added that into your contract originally. We did not think we had to buy right away. Once we realize we have to buy right away, then we go through this process. And
Well, we knew, so I wanted to ask about this, because we knew we had to buy it on the one side, right?
Not when we did the contract. We did when we were doing the construction plans, when we got to the plan, so I came to you during the plans. When we were putting the design together, even before we went out for bid, but not when we were writing that original contract.
Yeah, because we did.
And because your GIS mapping is off, it's wrong.
Yep.
So the magic mapping out of, and even today, if you go look at, I sent it to.
I thought we talked pretty early on about knowing that the ones, there's Ms. Brooks on one side, but then the other side, I thought we knew pretty early on that that was. gonna
We
be-
didn't know,
Draft.
we knew there was a fence that looked like it was on city property,
It's right on the, yeah,
but I thought it was on city property, so it was the other way around. I knew you're gonna have a angry homeowner because we were gonna put a sidewalk on land that they thought was theirs, which is not theirs. But turned out it's theirs. So I did not know that it was.
We
So
hadn't surveyed, so that's part of their.
and this, the charge of a $1,500, that's very, very common. I don't think you find hardly anybody doing it any cheaper than that for all of that. And we do, for instance, sorry to use this word again, but Leclerc, we're doing 100 of them. Up and down there Wisconsin Street, there's 50 houses on either side. We're having to buy property from all of them because that road is narrow and it's wide, so wow. And we're charging them $1,500 per house to do it, just because this effort, some of them go quickly,
sure.
some of them backfire. This one took 2 or 3 meetings, it wasn't one meeting, you know,
I
But
was- Yeah, I mean, there was additional work that was
yeah.
involved. And that was something certainly that from my position, I wouldn't been able to have that time of negotiation.
Have you, so it's finalized
With
with
Miss
Ms. Brooks, is-
Brooks is finalized,
the other side is
not even started.
not even started.
Not even,
but-
well, I shouldn't say that. The field surveying is done, so we've gone to the courthouse, we got the records we needed. We came out and found pins to make sure we were right, that we needed to get it. And
No conversations yet, though.
not even touched, right?
Yeah, this was confusing, because at first I thought that was the amount that was given to the property owners, but it's. And
Very
just
close
engineering services only is what this is.
to come up with all the data in order to buy that property.
Yeah.
That's correct.
I will point out. Forgive me, Theo, but, Leclerc is paying for all of these, streets and sidewalks, which is wonderful.
Yeah, that is nice.
You've also offered, that the city of Davenport will buy the land from Ms. Brooks.
Where is that? Where is that?
On the actual offer to purchase,
I buy a lot of property for Davenport.
the city of Davenport,
I'm just wondering.
Yes.
Scott County, et cetera.
That I will not blame on any clerk at all.
I'm just pointing it
Because
out.
on that one, I typed that myself.
That's what I was gonna say, this one's on you.
It's already-
I did this one, no, I seriously, I did this on 100%.
Because I do.
It's already signed and notarized, so.
Yes,
I
Yes,
assume,
it is,
I don't know if that needs to be redone, but,
especially since.
It
It
does
is.
not need to be redone
Okay.
because your attorney is gonna put together a deed.
Yes.
it'll.
The deed, this agreement only gets, so your attorney could put the deed together. And then he goes and, he has to take that to the courthouse, or somebody has to take it to the courthouse and get it recorded.
Yeah,
So this agreement doesn't even get recorded.
sure.
This drawing, though, in the back,
Yes.
will get recorded.
Okay, okay.
Okay, sounds good. We are on the resolution paying Geertz and Kim an additional $3,000 to negotiate and do the engineering for the right-of-way purchase on both sides of division. This is so that obviously the sidewalk's already poured on the one side. The other side, then you're gonna proceed with the work of purchasing the right-of-way in order that it could be
That's right.
poured at a later date. It's not, I don't think that's a part of the contract.
It's not part of the
To do that
construction
sidewalk.
contract to do that side, right?
Okay. We have a motion and a second to approve the resolution. Any further discussion? It's a roll call vote. Councilmember Martinez.
Yes.
Councilmember Schiltz.
Yes.
Councilmember Dominguez.
Yes,
Councilmember McFerren.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0. This is the thing that I just mentioned, a resolution to approve the purchase of partial interest in real estate, 121 West Gibson Street. This is where the sidewalk is actually already poured on that side of Division Street. Is there a motion to approve?
Which
Second,
one of you? Okay, Martinez and then McFerren.
Martinez,
But
McFerren?
as far as our notation goes, our records go, do we have to change that? I mean,
I can
report
change
that that's not the city of Davenport, Iowa.
We
No,
should.
again, that will go through when we do the finalized
Okay,
portion,
okay.
the map on the back portion is what we're looking at.
And we
We
know-
have the address.
Okay,
It's
okay.
clear enough that it won't.
and we always.
I mean,
say
that's the resolution.
I know we've got a lot of generous communities around us, but I just want to make sure in the future that
You
that
know what
won't
you
be
could do,
used.
you could, when the city goes to sign it, we could just pen and ink it with an initial.
Okay,
Yeah, and then
Like
we'll.
that way it would be clean.
And then we will provide a resolution which specifies the correct address for that.
okay.
We have a motion and a second to approve this resolution. Is there any further discussion? Another roll call vote. Councilmember Martinez,
Yes.
Councilmember Schiltz,
Yes.
Councilmember Dominguez,
Yes,
Councilmember McFerren.
Yes,
The motion passes 4-0. A resolution to dispose of city property located in the police garage. Is there a motion to approve?
motion to approve.
Moved and seconded to approve, and you can see all the pictures here. This is old office equipment that's been sitting around for a long time, I understand. As you know, things that are purchased with taxpayer dollars, small or large, old or new, typically need to be approved by you, the taxpayer representatives, before it can be disposed of. But I think the idea is to give this away or trash it, right?
No, we're trying to identify how we can. You passed the resolution and we're still working, we've gone through several
Yeah.
steps trying to identify where we can,
Donate or?
we've tried.
Yeah, we
Sell.
tried donating to
Yeah.
Habitat to Humanity. They
Sell or
did
donate or
not
dispose.
want,
Yeah.
if there are other
community
areas
bonfire
where-
after the tree lady.
Not yet, because we have to have
It's
this
not
approved before we can further, correct,
But
before
if
we
we
can
put more lights
further
on it,
distribute
maybe
them, we have to pass the resolution saying that we can dispose of those items. Now that, like, if this resolution is passed, then at that point in time, we can look at other options, posting, and doing those types of things. We just have to have that passed before we can do it.
Any other discussion about that? We have the motion in a second. A roll call vote. Councilmember Martinez.
Yes.
Councilmember Schiltz.
Yes.
Councilmember Dominguez.
Yeah.
Councilmember McFerren.
Yes,
Motion passes 4-0. Finally, we have. Thank you. Chief is excited to get out of the garage.
I've been in there the entire time I've been here. And we can't
Why you
get,
just
there-
decide now to give it?
we have a water hookup in the garage that's buried under all this, so we can't wash the squad cars in the garage. Because it's buried in there, so I'm really happy to hear this, thank you.
We have a resolution to enter into an agreement with Water 120 for the lead project in the city of West Liberty. We'll discuss this, but is there a motion to approve?
motion to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve this resolution. This, something I learned about when one of the service lines at a property I own was hit by a underground borer and had to be replaced. Danny said, well, you lucked out because this was gonna have to be replaced anyway. And so I started learning about that. But the city is required to have an audit of all the lead service lines by October of next year.
Yeah,
So as my understanding is this company does that service for us to provide the the research to get a full map.
Not just a research, I mean, there's several steps will also provide.
Inventory.
An intro level, they'll collect the inventory, then they'll also make sure we have it, where it will be. Uploaded into Esra, so then that inventory becomes a part of our GIS. And then they'll also maintain and monitor compliance.
Okay.
I don't know, I don't know if Leo's familiar.
I'm familiar with, we have not done, we're just now taking on a few of these, we
Yeah.
haven't done any.
Yeah.
Yeah, the city of Burlington, we're working with, they did their own, and I don't know if they hired somebody like this, and once they identified all the lead in.
Yeah.
Then they somehow had money to replace, and we've been involved with that.
Yeah, so this piece of it, again, we don't have staffing capacity. I mean, we can assist with a little bit of it, but we just don't have the staffing capacity. Mayor Pro Tem and I sat in through the league, we sat in on the program, where they talked about this and it's a very lengthy and very, so again, this is where this process, and this was a recommendation from Danny, the water superintendent, he's done the research, he's looked at it. And it's my understanding they're recognized through the league as well as a program.
Handed down through the federal government that
Yeah, it's mandated.
mandated that we all need to get rid of our lead lines because no lead reading is, I mean, there is no safe lead readings, so we will all be changing our lines if they're lead.
So with this process, then we take the inventory, we get the inventory. And then as Leo was talking about, then eventually down the road in those steps, then we have to provide a plan to replacement and, and then that's looking at SRF possibly as part of that funding. And that's where then as Leo, we would talk to the engineer and we would start working through that planning and the financing and.
Like I said, I have not done any in the state of Iowa. I'm currently doing one in Cambridge.
Yeah.
A little bit different. It is through their SRF program, but it's a forgiving one.
Mhm.
And I don't know if Iowa's going that way. I think they are.
They said I think when we were at the program, they said they were still kind of working
Right.
through the finance piece of
They're
it.
both just starting down this path.
Plus I had read on the EPA's site that there could possibly, depending on the future administration and how it goes, there could possibly be some federal money. That would be eligible for people that maybe are disadvantaged or can't afford the change. Yeah, the lead line, so.
A lot of work to be done on that and there'll be more discussion to follow. That seems like a good first step, get it mapped out. Any further questions on this? We have a motion and a second to approve the resolution.
The insurance that we get in the mail, the optional insurance, would that cover it? If I didn't think so, but I figured I'd ask.
Yeah, nope, good question.
Okay.
Nope, that's that's, for your
For
service line
accidents.
for.
Yeah.
Question. Okay, any further questions? It's a roll call vote. Councilmember Martinez. Yes. Councilmember Schiltz.
Yes.
Councilmember Dominguez.
Yes.
Councilmember McFerren.
Yes,
The motion is approved 4-0. We are,
And just before you guys leave, if any of you are interested in the Municipal Leadership Academy, I do have items for you guys if you want to take a look at these.
thank you, Shari. Obviously today was the election, so we'll be watching for the results. And I know that, I know that obviously the mayor was up for election, so I'm certainly willing to work with whoever was elected. I would say that these balloons would really like to be elected to the city council. So maybe you find your write-in candidate there.
Slowly.
Yes, it keeps getting closer and closer to the end. Yeah, I think, so it's an exciting time for the city. So looking forward to the way things unfold and keep marching on. Is there a motion to
and
adjourn?
there's dates that the city hall will be closed
You wanna read
for
them?
holiday, is that right? For Thanksgiving, is that Veterans Day? And Thanksgiving?
Yep.
November 10th, 23rd, and 24th. Thank you, everybody. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.